Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of the Sunday Bunch Live. Joining myself, we Philly tonight, we have Dino. Dino, how's your day been?
Lazy Sunday, mate. Nice lazy Sunday.
Nice one. We're joined by Terry, the Mad Mistake as well. Terry, how's your day been?
Yeah, not bad. Been sorting more of the house out. So getting there slowly, sorting the sitting room out. Now I'm going to chill out with a couple of coos because I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, I tell you what, you get more holidays than Thomas Cook.
I've got loads of holidays because I've never had any all fucking year. I've got absolutely loads of holidays left to get.
Right,
Pardon me, French.
We're joined by Jack Shields as well. Jack, have you had a good day?
Yeah, it's been all right. Same as Dino, really. Just boring Sunday dinner and watched a bit of the football. Well, more than a bit of the football, both games. So I'm looking forward to a big crack about Sunderland, as usual.
Right, fair enough. Don't forget, we are live, which means you can join us via the live chat if you wish to do so. Just stick your comments there and we will try and get to you and include as many of those as we can already. First up, the Las Palmas Macam, as he always is, FNRL Chips. Thought he was first, but he's not, so he'll be back at 7. Dan Humphrey is there, David Walker, Richie Stubbs, John Hunter, Jimmy, Ian Donaldson, Mick Griffiths, Chris Day, Gordon, who's got very good eyesight, John T, all on there already. Before we start on yesterday's game, of course, down at Wimbledon, since we was last on Thursday, the appointment of Alex Neil as our head coach in their 12-month rolling contract. I'll pass that around to you first, lads. Are you happy with that, Jack?
Yeah, I think from the names discussed, he was one of the ones that I'd look at. I know our fans got our hearts set on Roy Keane, but ultimately, I think everything has to be right for him to get back into management, and I don't think it was. And you're looking at the ones that we interviewed. I've always liked Alex Neil. I thought he'd come across very, very well. He's done a pretty good job at the 3 clubs he's managed. He took Hamilton from nowhere into the SPL, got Norwich promoted. I know they went down again, but Norwich tend to yo-yo a bit, don't they? I think they were doing okay in the Championship, nothing spectacular when he got sacked. And Preston did a decent job there. So I'm fairly confident. I think his personality will match Sunderland more than Lee Johnson's did. I think he's a bit more our type of manager. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly back to the chat there. Michael Bowers, part of our team down here, says we know how to get people watching. I think he's referring to our little thumbnail, what we've used on there as well. Evening, boys. You're all right. That's Emma, one of our mods. We'll be speaking to the mods later. Terry. Alex Neil, 12-month rolling contract. Are you happy with that?
Well, we've got no choice, have we really? Got to be happy, haven't we? Because we haven't gotten Keane, haven't we? So we've got to
You don't have to be happy. You do have a choice. I mean, were you happy when Lee Johnson was in?
No.
Right, there you go. So you're happy with that?
Today, I mean, it's absolutely chucked it down all day, and I blame Lee Johnson for the weather. I tell you what it is. It's always Lee Johnson's fault. It's a nightmare. Lee Johnson, the amount of mistakes he's made over the season, told me it was going to be sunny and it's raining. Lee Johnson, what's going on? But yeah, Alex Neil, fantastic. I'm pleased he's in. We needed somebody in before long. I was just disappointed the way the club announced it. They waited until everybody knew he was already in. And it took Nick Barnes to have a go at the club before the club decided to but yeah, I'm happy with Alex Neil. Out of all the ones available, he was the one that sort of caught me eye a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's just I'm going to touch on that as well. So, Dino, Alex Neil, good appointment.
I mean, my heart was set on Roy Keane, to be honest. I think I might be the only one. So I'm not really too keen on Neil. I don't know why. Like, people say he's done a good job at Norwich. He got relegated with Norwich. I don't get us wrong. Norwich's team wasn't the greatest, so he didn't really have a lot. I mean, to help him stay up. Preston, I mean, he was just mediocre with Preston, wasn't he? And I mean, I know you say he got promoted with Hamilton, but didn't Jack Ross get promoted with another Scottish League One team? So, I mean, it doesn't really say much. I don't know. Don't get us wrong, he's better than the managers we've had. He is. But it doesn't mean it's going to be a good fit. It does just because he's a better. It doesn't mean he's going to be a good fit. The players have got to tater him. I mean, he played a back 4. I guarantee there's a lot of people who weren't happy with playing a back 4. I know he changed the formation to a 4-3-3, but everyone's set on playing three centre defenders with wing backs. So I mean, people say he speaks good in interviews. You can speak in good as interviews all you want, but it needs to perform on the pitch. He wasn't my first choice. He's better than what we had, but I just don't think it'll work. I just don't think Neil will be the right man. My opinion, anyway.
Terry,
Dean, he said he's better than what we had. So he's better than Lee Johnson.
Yeah, he's better than Lee Johnson, but it doesn't mean just because you're a better manager doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Do you know what I mean? Like some certain clubs, just managers don't work. I mean, you look at like Jose Mourinho, like he goes to certain clubs and it just doesn't work. When the Tottenham
I know somebody who follows Preston. He's a season card holder, and I thought, I'll ask him his opinion on Alex Neil. And do you know what he said? He's got no plan B.
But the thing is, though, Terry, a lot of managers don't have a plan B. A lot of managers. I know. Some of the best managers in the world don't have a plan B. It's just one of them things. I mean, most plan Bs are just get it up front as quick as you can. So
he said you like him in the first season because he'll do all right, but then second season you'll fall out of love with him.
Oh God, I can't believe it. Is that what they said? No plan B? Because what was the biggest criticism of Lee Johnson was he's got no plan B. That was everything what was said. So remains to be seen. Right. Well, let's go on to this thing with the club not actually announcing until the Friday night. I mean, obviously Thursday night they gave him the job. He was in taking training on the Friday morning. And I said on our live stream yesterday to Dino, had I known he was doing the live, that he was taking training that morning and they weren't going to announce it, I'd have taken my drone down to the academy. I'd have got it over and seen it because, it's like, how can the club let somebody take a photograph of our manager in his tracksuit on Durham Station or wherever? And that was basically the way we found out. So what do you think the reasoning around the club doing what they did? Have you any ideas on that, Terry?
Is it just not lack of respect to the fans? Is it not just, I don't know what it is, to be honest. It's like they don't really give a shit, to be honest. I mean, you wait until it's 9 o'clock at night, and then even Nick Barnes, and you know what Nick Barnes is like, he's such a lovely man, even he was frustrated. Why have we not given Alex Neil, a welcome him on the club website? Why have we not given him some sort of appreciation or some sort of acknowledgement that he is our new head coach? Everyone knew he's a new head coach. No matter what club you support, when they get a new manager, they always have it out straight away. This is our new manager. They acknowledge the new manager. They welcome him to the club. And we just like, it's Alex Neil. The fans don't need to know. The fans already know. They've seen a picture on the platform. We're not bothered. And then they've got like someone, Nick Barnes, who puts a tweet out, sort of, not happy with the club. Then eventually the club seeing the tweet and seeing all the people sort of responding to the tweet and think, maybe we should have had something on the website. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. Afterthought again. It's like the fans don't mean anything to this club.
Hang on, Dean. I'll bring you in just there. I mean, I genuinely believe that the club only released it because they were starting to look pretty silly, really. And I think that did force on. Dino, you want in there?
I think they were waiting for you to be at the academy light to announce it because you announced Matete and Defoe, basically. So they were just waiting for you to pop your head through the window and tell everyone, I think. But,
listen,
I mean, go on, Phil.
I'm serious. If I'd have known they were going to drag their heels like that, I would have taken the drone down on Friday morning, flown it over the academy. I'd have got the pictures I needed, simple as that. But
it seems like it's very unprofessional, very amateurism, very unprofessional. It just doesn't seem like the way to go about things at all.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, Johnny Thorns, who I do believe is one of Jacob's pals from uni when they were at uni tashing about, because he's a bit of a boy, is our Jacob. Says, evening, lads. Thanks for all the content. Keep it up. And he's donated £5 via the super chat. Can we have a round of applause, please, for Johnny Thorns? Thanks to you. Once again, we will quickly tell you that the channel doesn't make a profit. And it does cost money to run. So any money donated is gratefully accepted. And you can do that via the super chat. There's a little $ at the bottom of the live chat, and you can select how much you'd like to donate. Jack, have you got any ideas why you think the club might have delayed that announcement?
No idea whatsoever, Phil. But I've got no idea what a lot of our club, what's happening with a lot of our club at the moment. I think it just, as Terry touched on, it smacks of unprofessionalism. It smacks of a tin pot little club that, you know, if we have aspirations to be higher than this level, and we, of course, we should, and we do, you know, we should stop, you know, behaving like a club that wants to be in a higher level. And that wasn't even League One. That's like something a Sunday League team would do. I don't know if it was a contractual or a legal thing. I can't see any reason why there would have been any legality as to why they couldn't have just announced it. And like Terry's touched on, I think, you know, when they come under that much pressure, they had to announce it. And even the announcement that they did was like nothing. There was, you know, like a Tuppence Hackney kind of statement that, you know, didn't really hit home with any of the fans. I think it's just not just with this. I think there's a real lack of discord, lack of harmony between the club and the fans at the minute. I think, you know, a lot of our supporters, including myself, are looking, you know, who's making decisions at the club and who's running things and why we're so unprofessional. And I think that's been really damaged over the last few weeks, if not months. So I think, you know, those that are, you know, KLD and the people behind the scenes, they've got a lot of work to do to try and get Sunderland fans back on side, because, you know, that is just symbolic of the way that we're being run at the minute. And it's like a tiny little club, you know, no aspirations or anything, just like smacks of unprofessionalism to me.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that next anyway. Just very quickly on the chat, Tony Lee says the fans will give Alex Neil a warm welcome. The stadium a light next Saturday. We always do. Steve Flounder says, Philly, the lack of announcement shows the current lack of professionalism within the club, which is basically what I was saying. David Jones has donated £5 via the super chat. That's David Jones from Sky Sports. Thank you very much. And he says, great show, loved it for a long time. Great fellas. Dino, just very quickly, can you think of any reason why the club should delay announcing that?
No, I mean, it is kind of ridiculous. I mean, maybe someone is sacking at the club who's ever working on social media, because the only way you can announce it is on social media. If someone's not doing the job wrong, obviously it might be time for them to go. I mean, we're seeing that in the documentary when Donald was in charge, when certain members weren't pulling the weight. They were just happy to be getting a wage, doing the bare minimum. So maybe the social media team needs to be looked at. Obviously, I wouldn't like to see anyone get sacked, but it was quite embarrassing for the fans to find out from someone taking a photo of our manager at a train station. I mean, at first I wasn't sure if it was real or not, because, you know, people can do all sorts of editing and photoshopping these days, so I wasn't too sure. But I mean, it looks like it was a proper, a real photo.
Well, I think somebody in our group said that, and I would have done it if I hadn't been at work. So they said they should have photoshopped me on the other side with my microphone and stuff like that. But I was at work. To be honest, Dino, I don't think the social media team will be to blame on it. I think they, you know, they'll put on when they're told to go, then they'll go with it. I don't think it's them that make the decision. Tam on the chat says, imagine getting embarrassed by Totals, the total gent, Tweed Barnsley. What a shower, which is basically what Terry was trying to say there as well. What I will say is, obviously, since I was last on, because I wasn't on Thursday, we did the previous Thursday announce that Roy Keane was to be manager, and that was from our source. Our source who'd never let us down before, which was why I made the decision of putting that out there. Obviously, it turned out that our source is not as good as we thought it was. So we will be thinking twice before we do that again. Like we said, we was just relaying it to you, but apologies if we look a bit silly. Terry.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with Heinz, Philly. You always go for Heinz, not Tesco's own brand.
Right, but what about HP? That's not Heinz.
HP is not as good as Heinz. Not as good as Heinz.
What, brown sauce? HP brown sauce?
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? Horrible.
No, don't be silly. Right.
It's like your sauce is HP, mine's is Heinz. My sauces are always right.
Right. Okay. So the thing is we're saying about it's very unprofessional from the club and people running it and stuff like that. If I get a chance, because I noticed some people on the chat have already mentioned it. Ryan Hunter was saying he's brought up about Charlie Methven's texts which are doing the rounds on social media about the fans, and people are saying about the involvement of Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven in our club. We'll try and get onto that a little bit later on because we've got a lot to cover, but we will try and address that for you. People saying it's unprofessional by the club. The thing with Roy Keane not being brought in, right? Do you think the reason for Roy Keane not being brought in was a financial thing? Do you think Roy Keane possibly wanted a bit more power than they were willing to give? Dino?
I don't know. I mean, don't get us wrong, when he's on the telly, he must be earning a pretty penny. If it was the 50k a week, I mean, he needs to look at himself in the mirror and think League One, and I was Sunderland, but most managers in League One probably won't even be on 10 grand a week. I mean, if it's total financial, well, he might as well just stay on the telly because he will be getting paid quite a bit. But if it was down to not making certain decisions, I mean, I'm not being funny. That's the way football's going at the minute, where someone else buys all your players. That's the way things are going. So if he wants to get back into management, he's going to have to get with the times and realise that times are changing. The managers don't buy the players anymore. The sports director? Is that what Christian Speakman is?
No, the director of football. Director
of football. So if he wants to get back into management, he needs to. I know Keane was back in the good old days with Alex Ferguson and all. With the Alex Fergusons and stuff like that, but times have changed. Football is changing, and if he does want to get back into management, he needs to get with the new times. And if he doesn't want to do that, well, he can just stick to doing what he's doing on the telly, being a fun pundit, saying it how it is. But I am gutted we didn't get him. I really, really did want him back. I mean, the Doncaster game, everyone was shouting Keno. I think everyone was in the same boat. But I mean, Alex Neil's here. It's a shame, but it's one of them. But good luck to the bloke in the future.
Right, okay. Ian Wilkinson on the chat says, told you last Sunday what was said in the director's suite that Keane was not coming. Michael Bowers says this about Scott. He was happy that Rotherham won today as it's helped us stay above Sheffield Wednesday for now, which is fair point, Michael. Jack, I don't know how much you wanted Keane in, but do you think it was down to think it was down to a financial obligation, or do you think he wanted more say?
I mean, I slightly disagree with Dino when he said he wanted Keane in. I get why fans wanted Roy Keane in. I completely understand, that like him the first time and the place did need a lift. But I think Roy Keane's personality and temper, and to a certain extent, I'm not sure he would have really reacted well with some of the players. They're very young. I mean, they might have been brilliant with him, but I'm not sure it would have been the right time for him to come back to us. I think with Keane, I think he's someone that he has to have not full control, but he has to have a large say in everything within the club. And I think he's probably walked in and had a look at the two chances in the boardroom and thought, no, I'm not being questioned. I'm not being dictated to by two people that know very little about football, had no experience in football, not played at the highest level like I have, not football men. Probably looked at that more so than the financial thing. I know I read somewhere that people saying he wanted 50 grand a week. I can't see Roy Keane being stupid enough to demand that from a League One club. I don't think he would have been on 50 grand a week when in the Premier League, to be fair. So at this level, I can't see him coming in and demanding 50 grand a week. I think it was more so the way that the club is run. And I think Roy Keane's someone that everything has to be right for him to take a job. He's turned down jobs before. I remember he was offered the Celtic job in 2014, I believe. It might have been the year after when Ronnie Delia got it. And he turned that down because it wasn't the right move for him. So I think he's obviously had a look at it and thought, nah, the setup within Sunderland, it's just not for me.
Right. Dino, you want him there?
I mean, I hope Keane does come out on the telly and maybe give her a little bit of hindsight of why the deal didn't happen. I mean, it would be nice for her to know why the deal didn't happen. I mean, like you say, Roy Keane is very upfront of the way he talks, and maybe one day we'll let us know what happened, because there's going to be no doubt Ian Wright and people on the telly will ask him how come it didn't happen, because you are odds on, and hopefully he does come out and say, well, it was either the money thing, because he was saying on the telly the contract has to be right, so maybe it had something to do with the contract, because he kept saying that the contract has to be right, so maybe that was what done it in the end.
Right, okay. Matt, who's a Bolton Wanderers fan, welcome to the channel, Matt. says top right-hand corner, Craig from Coronation Street. That's you, Dino.
Don't watch Coronation. I don't watch Coronation Street.
Dino.
I don't watch telly.
Nobody watches Coronation Street, surely.
Oh, you are joking. I've watched Coronation Street.
I hate soap operas. I absolutely hate soap operas. What a waste of time watching that shite.
Oh, behave yourself. That he is actually Craig. I'm going to change your name to Craig on there, actually. Anyway, Terry, do you think it was financial, or do you think he wanted a bigger say in things?
Well, it seems the first interview must have went well, because afterwards he was on TV and he was asked about it, and he smirked and smiled as if he was getting the job. And then maybe it's the second round of interviews. It was held by Charlie Metfin Salmon Pants, and he thought, fuck this, I'm not coming here with this joker here coming into this interview. Because, I mean, let's face it, we all know what Charlie Metfin's like. If he's anywhere near the interview, Roy Keane would have thought, what an absolute joke this club is. And I hope he comes out. I really do. I hope he comes out and says, we had like Salmon Pants and Donald and KLD all in the interview with Speakman together, and he said it was just like a circus. It was like a circus. I hope he comes out and says something like that, because it has to be the circumstances. It won't be the money. It'll be the circumstances. He'll want to do things his own way, and they want too much control. We all know how controlling the likes of Charlie Metfin and Donald is. So there's no reason why the club's actually changed over the last few years about controlling.
Right. Can I just say my personal opinion? I think anybody who thinks that Charlie Metfin and Stuart Donald have had a hand in these interviews, I think is barking well up the wrong tree. I think it's ridiculous. People are saying, oh, Metfin was interviewing them and stuff like that. I mean,
so we're trying to say KLD and Speakman just as bad then?
No, well, what I'm trying to say is
clowns and jokers.
What I'm trying to say is, from what I know, and that's all I'll say, from what I know is they are basically shareholders and they're not having any involvement in the club at all. And so
why was he spotted in the director's box last week?
Well, so what? So you can go and sit in the... I got invited in the director's box. I've got nothing to do with the club. You know what I mean? It's all people are jumping on things. When, Lee Johnson was getting blamed for everything. And then when he went, it was like, oh, Speakman, he should be sacked and all that. And now all of a sudden it's Charlie Metfin, Stuart Donald getting it. I think people...
I won't be happy until they're gone 100%. And until they're gone 100%, I'll always believe they've got something to do with the club.
Well, so you're a conspiracy theorist then, Terry?
I am. I'm getting that way. Because you don't get a billionaire into the club, and you don't get the way the club's being run, unprofessionalism, the way it is. Something is deeper going on than we think there is. It has to be. We can't be run by absolute muppets, and then it comes to a young lad like KLD, Speakman, who's supposed to be all professional about the whole thing, and then things are just doing exactly the same. There's something deeper going on in this club that we don't know about.
Isn't this KLD's first ever time owning a club? I mean, he's making these rookie mistakes
Hasn't he got contacts and people who can actually talk to about running clubs? Because he brought up with a family who ran clubs. So surely a little bit of advice from mother will keep him on the the right sort of direction. So he's got to be. He can't be just doing it off the top of his head. I mean, on Friday with that manager situation, that was just so unprofessionalism. That's not something I want from KLD.
You can get advice all you want, but you don't have to take it. I mean, you get the advice and you might think, he's wrong. Well, we all know this, man. I think KLD needs to be cut a little bit slack, because we're getting the point where we're just blaming KLD for everything. I mean... No,
all I want is for KLD to sit down with Charlie Salmon Pants and say, what do you want to get out of this club? And, no fans. The fans are always going to complain about it. The fans are always going to think he's part of the club. They want him out of the club. So KLD, for me and Speakman, need to sit down and say, look, Charlie, nobody wants you at the club. Nobody wants to see you anywhere near Sunderland. We need to come to some conclusion to get you out of this club. What can we do? If you're going to keep shares in the club, don't come anywhere near the northeast of England.
Right. Well, sorry, Dean, I'll let you in now. I mean, this is all speculation that Stuart Donald and Charlie Metfin are having this hand in the club. Would you still have a problem then, Terry, if they happen to have their small percentage of shares, which they have, but they just have no involvement in the club whatsoever. Would that still not be good enough? Because it's like Sunderland fans just have to blame somebody. And now, you know, they didn't like them as owners. They got them out, and now they're out. All right, they're
not out. They're not out.
So all right, so if they just have shares in the club, right? You know, I've got shares in a place. I have no say on the
level
running.
they have, though, Phil. Not the level they have. Don't they have 40% or something like that? If you add up all three of the investments, it's nearly half of what.
Do you think they've got that? Do you think they've got that? Nobody's announced the amount of shares they have. So so if they had shares and they had nothing to do with the club, would that still not be good enough for you, Terry?
Would that be too hard to say from somebody who owns the club? Right, I own this much of shares. The minority shareholders are here, but they have nothing to do with the club. They don't run the club. They don't have any say about the club, and they won't even come up to Sunderland at all because we know the fans don't want them there. No fans want them there. No fans want to see Charlie Medford. I mean, he was walking past some away fans before, and everybody got on his case. So, I mean, clearly nobody wants him at the club. He needs to stop sticking around. Just get out.
Go on, Dino, just come in and then I'll...
I mean, Terry's not going to be happy for a long time because we all know they'll hold on to their shares until we're in the Premier, then can sell it. The businessmen at the end of the day, yeah, they probably don't love the club. Clearly, well, obviously they don't love the club. They're not from the area. They're from down south and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if they want to go and watch Sunderland, they've got every single right to because they've got shares in the club. Doesn't mean they're making decisions. Maybe they were just bored. How we'll go and watch Sunderland get beat off Pig and Doncaster and get beat off Wimbledon, blah, 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 and we'll laugh at the fan. We don't know what they're thinking, but at the end of the day, they're going to be here until we're in the Prem and they can sell their shares for millions and millions and millions. We all know this, so you're just going to have to get used to it. Yeah, he's been pitching at the club, but maybe he's just going to watch the match then leave. I mean, don't forget Newcastle had Ashley and they hated Ashley. They wanted Ashley out for years. And Ashley kept taking the mick, not signing players, blah, blah, blah. So this is what it is. You just got to get used to it. I mean, for me, I believe in KLD. I believe in the whole thing, what's going on. If they're going to be here just in the background, just turning up the games, I don't really care because at the end of the day, it's what matters on the pitch. What matters, not what happens in the boardroom. They can do whatever they want. It's what happens on the pitch. And at the minute, what's happening on the pitch is disgraceful.
So what do you think? Why do you think Keno hasn't come? Does he not believe in KLD? Is Speakman and KLD not want to give him too much control?
Right, well, can I answer that? Because I want to do that anyway. I want to quickly shout out to Tam, who's donated £5 on the Super Chat. Can I have a round of applause for Tam? Tam also says KLD said that he can make some decisions by himself, and that he's saying, so what decisions can't he make, and who does he seek permission from? Now, you know, again, that looks to me like he's trying to say, oh, so there you go, he's having to turn to Donald and Metvin for that. But Terry, you was a bit advocate of, you know, his family got this knowledge of running Marseille, and he can turn to them. So maybe, you know, maybe that's that. Now, the question you were saying about why Keno hasn't come, I don't personally think it's financial. I think he's wanted to buy his own players and stuff like that, which doesn't fit into our new long-term strategy, right? However, the club have already broken that by sacking Lee Johnson. For me, I think. So what I would have done, I'd have gone, right, give him what he wants. Let's get us out of this league. And then if we want to then go back to this this new long-term plan, then so be it. So for me, I think he's wanted more of a say than financially is my answer to that.
And like someone said in the chat, whatever happens in the boardroom, it affects what happens on the pitch. I mean, because we couldn't make a decision on a manager, that's affected us basically losing 6 points in the last 2 games. We're having people in charge like Dodds. You know, it's not like, I know I don't blame him because he's not a head coach. He hasn't got the ability to run a club like that and a team. But that's affected us big time. If we had somebody in place when Johnson was sacked straight away, we probably would have. He might have drawn the first game, then won against Doncaster. We might have gotten more points.
Right, Tino, you want in?
Yeah, the only way it would affect the players on the pitch is if we were in a financial crisis and players weren't getting paid. I'm not being funny. Players are paid to do what on the pitch. They've got nothing to do with the boardroom. As long as players are getting paid, they'll turn up and they'll do the jobs as best as they can. Well, that's what we like to think anyway. But I'm not being funny. I don't think anything what the board's being doing would have affected the players on the pitch these last 3 days. Because at the end of the day, you still got to go out and play. I mean, there's been players say, I've seen players say, apparently, I was watching something today. When Edgar Davids was in charge of Barnet, I think he was. He didn't travel down with the squad because he didn't want to do a 6-hour journey, and the players still had to come together, and I think they still won the game. So at the end of the day, you can change your manager, but the players have still got to go out and perform, and that's what's the main thing. The players aren't performing.
But we've got a bunch of very young players at the club, haven't we? They need guidance, they need leadership. And when you have no one leading the club, they're going to stray. They're going to sort of lose their confidence. We needed someone like Alex Neil in straight away to guide the team against the likes of Doncaster when we lost against Doncaster and against Cheltenham. And he's coming against Wimbledon, and we've gotten a point. We haven't lost the game, so he's guided them to a point. It's not what we wanted, but it's better than losing that we did against Cheltenham and Doncaster.
Right, just very quickly, because I want to move on to the match yesterday, but I do need to give a shout out to Tam on the chat, who says, "Not the first time I've got the clap for a £5." Thanks for that, Tam. Right, okay. Also on there, we must give a shout out to Marianne and Carl Taylor, our friends from Boston, Massachusetts. $5 donated via the super chat. Once again, round of applause to them. And all money donated is much appreciated. It does help us run the channel. Hi, guys. If they wanted Keno, they should have got him. KLD won't back any manager. Can't see Neil doing much if he ain't backed. 430 people on the stream, 116 likes. Just hit the thumbs up if you would, please. We'll try and hit 200 if we can tonight. Take a second to do that. And if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It's free, and it does help us out as well. So Wimbledon won, or AFC Wimbledon won, Sunderland won. Your thoughts on that, Jack? Do you want to start us off?
I didn't think much of it, to be honest. What my thoughts? Not much. Very poor game of football as a spectacle. Scrappy. No quality on show from Sunderland. I thought the referee was frustrating and incompetent with the yellow cards that he gave out, and that really didn't allow the game to flow. Seemed to be free kicks. God knows how many free kicks. He seemed to be blown left, right and centre for nothing. Nothing tackles, and I think the problem was when you book someone early on, you set your stall out, and you have to, every foul, it seemed, became a yellow card. So he didn't help. But I think, we just didn't play well on the whole. It was a very poor game of football. Nobody really stood out bar Jay Matete. I thought had a very good game in the midfield. Other than that, I can't think of maybe Patterson pulled off a couple of decent saves. But other than that, no Sunderland player really came out of it with any credit, I thought from 1 to 11, our whole team was like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 yesterday, and that means that you're not going to have you're not going to stand a great chance of winning the game. I thought in terms of how the game went, we were just starting to get on top when the penalty decision against the run of play, I thought was very, very harsh. But I suppose you could argue Doyle's got his arms up and it hits his arm, so is his arm in a natural position? He gives it, and that really harmed us, really damaged us, because we were just starting. I think Bubble get on top then. Excellent free kick from Pritchard. And then second half, I was thinking, we looked like we were getting there, but without any clear-cut chances. We did improve. We were slightly better, but I think we only had one shot on target, didn't we, the whole game, which was the free kick from Pritchard that went in. That's not good enough. For a team going to Wimbledon away, you have to test the goalkeeper more. And, just 2 points dropped, really.
Yeah, I agree. Ben Hansen says one shot on target tells a story. Doesn't it? They're all on about the referee. To be fair, more cards than Terry gets on Valentine's Day, even. Which is quite a lot. The penalty, Dino did the commentary. We're still not sure which arm it is. It's because one arm is in by his side, and you can't really see for the players. It was a very harsh penalty, I think. Dino, your thoughts, overall performance yesterday?
Yeah. One shot on target in 90 minutes just says it all. There's a lot of players lacking in confidence. There was a time where Ross Stewart was through. He was about 8 yards out 8 yards out. He should have just hit it on his left foot. We tried to cut inside, got the ball taken off him. There's a lot of players lacking a lot of confidence. But I do think Jack's a little bit harsh on some players. I did think Tri-Hume was quite good. I thought Matete was really, really good. He was outstanding. I thought he was one of our standout players. Pritchard was okay. His free kick was basically identical to the one he scored against, was it Doncaster? Who was it? He scored Cheltenham. Was it Cheltenham?
Cheltenham.
Yeah.
I mean, another great free kick, but when you only shot on target to free kick, I mean, questions need to be asked. We're not creating anything. I mean, I did like the fact he changed the formation. I do think a 4-3-3 does suit us quite well. But for whatever reason, we just couldn't create anything, like nothing clear cut. Wimbledon had the better chances. I mean, they had that one where they put in the corner, Patterson flapped at it, and luckily Patterson got back to his feet and pushed the second shot away.
Yeah,
it was a good save. But I mean, if you're wanting to get the top two and go up, you've got to beat teams like Wimbledon. You've got to test them more. I mean, we are playing like a relegation side at the minute, and that's down to either a lack of confidence or no belief in what they're actually doing. I know Alex Neil's only had 2 days with them. But at the end of the day, these players aren't a bad bunch of players. We have good players in there. Some of these players are really, really good players. But for some reason, it's just not clicking together. And it was poor all round. And I'm not being funny. We're going to be...
Tino, I've never known you be funny once anyway, so...
Shut up, man. But we'll be looking to make playoffs at this minute. I mean, we're looking behind now. I mean... 2 of the teams outside the playoffs are 2 points behind, and one of them, I think Sheffield Wednesday's got 2 games in hand, and we'll be looking to make playoffs at this rate. It's actually getting quite worrying.
Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Just very quickly before I come on to you, Terry, on the chat, David Jones says the refereeing in League One is criminal. To be honest, the worst he's seen for 30 years. Mad Max says, scrappy, yep. DJ says, signing Defoe has been a complete waste of time in our current setup. Conrad Tank, very harsh penalty. Sunderland Aaron, Dino, can he have a shout-out, please?
You just give him a shout-out?
Well, he wants one from you, Dino.
Sunderland Aaron, you said?
Yes.
Sunderland Aaron, there's your shout-out.
There you go. Nigel Dunn also says, Jack, I think he means Jay. Jay, not Defoe. Matete is quickly becoming my favourite player. Terry, yesterday's performance?
Yeah, well, after today's game against Sheffield Wednesday in Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday are 3 points behind Sunderland, only got 1 game in hand now. So, but if teams win the games in hand behind us, but they've got to win the games in hand first, we might drop out of the playoffs. But it's going to be tight. It was slightly better than against Cheltenham and Doncaster, but it's still very poor. But I'm very happy with Alex Neil's first. You know, after the game, he came out with his interview and said the way he thought it was. He said, we've got a lot of young players who are now mentally and physically tired at the end of the season. It's the first time they've played a full season men's football, and it's starting to find them out. Dan Neil yesterday looked the shadow of his former self. You know, the beginning of the season to mid part of the season, he looked brilliant, and now he looks laboured. He looks as if he's like making the wrong decisions. Then we got Dennis Serkin. Dennis Serkin's the same way on the left hand side. His crosses are going straight to the keeper. He looks like he's down in confidence. And we got young Doyle again. Doyle looks the same. He's starting to look tired. And when you got 2 or 3 players doing the same sort of thing, and then we got a little bit of an older player in Stewart. Well, Stewart, he, for me, starting to look fatigued. He's starting to look as if he's down on his confidence. So when you got 3 or 4 players all doing the same thing, you're not going to win games of football. Then on the other end of the spectrum, like you said, you got players like Robertson, Defoe, who have had no game time at all, who need game time, who could do with a pre-season, to be honest. So we could do with Broadhead and the likes of other players coming back, because we're looking really thin on the ground at the moment. We need players like Embleton to really step up to the mark now and to come back to the performances he played when he was playing against Blackpool last season, or playing for Blackpool last season. The game itself was nothing really, was it? Like Jack says, 100%. Scrappy referee, dead poor referee. I mean, it was never a penalty, whether it was the linesman giving the penalty or whether the referee gave a penalty. He had his arms down by his side. The bloke was like 1 yard away. How are you supposed to respond to 1 yard away? It's unbelievable. And it was never really in a dangerous position, so I don't even know how that was a penalty. And like Jack said, up until then, I thought we were the better side. Yes, Dean?
He had his hand there and one up there. If he hit that hand,
his arm was
in an unnatural position.
I thought his arm was like that. That when he turned.
Yeah,
so when he turned
down.
and literally he just kicked the ball from like that far onto his arm, it's never a penalty. If that was in the Premier League, it would never have been a penalty because his arm wasn't away from his body. So it's just the way it is. We've got to be able to go in front and get a goal ahead or a couple of goals ahead to make up for the incompetence of referees. And unfortunately, we can't do this at this moment in time. And whether 4-3-3 works out to be better in the future, I don't know, because the defence, again, with only two central defenders, did perform better because Bailey Wright, for me, was much better in the back four than Bart was. I don't know where Bart was yesterday. I don't know if he was injured. He must have been injured. Did not even been on the substitutes bench. But I prefer to go back to a back five or three central defenders for me. But I'm pleased Bailey Wright was back because we did look a lot more shoey yesterday. But going forward, we couldn't create anything. And at the end of the day, 1-1 is a disappointing result. But it's better than getting beat. So Alex Neil, 40 minutes on the training pitch with the new lads. You can't really change much in that time. So it improved a little bit. And he can see straight away what the problems are. Now he's got a whole week to get the things sorted out, ready for the next match. So hopefully we'll see a bit more of a difference. I'll be happy to say to some of those lads, have 2 days off. The youngsters, Cirque and Neil, get yourself away for 2 days, get in bed for 2 days, and just chill out and relax. Come back on Wednesday, and we'll start again because some of them look shot and they need a bit of a rest. I think, honestly. All
right then. On that score with Alex Neil saying that the players were tired and stuff. Tony Lee on the chat says tired. My pet hates tired footballers.
It is, but that's for seasoned professionals. These are young kids, 18, 19-year-old. And we're not saying tired physically. We're saying mentally tired. Mentally, they might be just all over the place with the head. You know, they're only young lads. Some of them are going to take a while to cope with this kind of season, constantly going. They've been playing like Sir Doyle has never missed a game, Hartley's. Dan Neil's always been in the side circuit. He's had a double hernia operation, not the same man since he's came back. So these youngsters, some of them won't be able to perform like other youngsters, but for me, they do look tired and making the wrong decisions. I think they're more mentally fatigued than they are body. So yeah, I can understand where it's coming from. The young lads should be running around all day, but your mind's got to be there as well. If your mind's not on the job, you cannot perform.
Right, Jack, you want in there?
Yeah, I just think there's a difference between, like I've touched on it before, being fit and match fit. You know what I mean? A young lad will naturally be physically fit, of course he will, but regularly playing regular matches as often as you have at a young age, it does take its toll on your body a little bit. So I think I understand where people are coming from, saying, "Oh, players should always be fit." You know, it's your 90 minutes football and that, and I get that. But the bottom line is, young footballers do tire, quickly. And I think the fact, with what we've done with the squad, we've gone from a squad last year that was maybe needed some young, fresh blood to now have we maybe gone too far the other way, whereby we've got so many young players now that, deep into the season, now we are, 14, 15 games to go, playing that regularly because of injuries and things like that, and maybe a few of them are burned out, because I think I agree with Alex Neil's comments. I do think a few of our squad look tired.
Right, on the chat, just very quickly, Thin, friend of the show, says that's the problem. Replying to Tony Lee, these youngsters have talent, but physically not up to it. Maximilian von Finchelstein, Rotherham and Wigan's players tired. I'll put this to you, Terry, because you like to blame Lee Johnson for anything, the weather, whatever you want. Alex Neil saying that the players were tired and what have you. Does Lee Johnson then take the blame for? Was his training methods too much? Was he?
No, I don't. I think he's going along the lines of the more physically, mentally tired. The young lads, the likes of Pritchard and them can cope with that. The likes of, you got Bailey Wright who probably could cope with if he stays fit. I think even Patterson for me is looking good as a goalkeeper. But when you're playing all this season and then you go through a change of manager and you go through a 6-0 defeat, then you go through another defeat, you've got no one in charge of you. You don't know where you're coming or going. The world's changed compared to come back to the 90s and the early 2000s when, it's a different kind of football now altogether. Youngsters are more mollycoddled. It's a different world altogether, and we have to adapt to this and have to understand we probably are brought in too many youngsters, and too many youngsters have come through, and it's the first time in this situation, and now they're being found out. So now it's up to Alex Neil to probably say, right, we have other players in the squad. We can maybe turn it around a little bit and rest one or two and get one or two others in. But who do we bring in for Cirkin? Because there's nobody at left back. You're going to have a wing back like Gooch to come in. And do we want Gooch as a wing back? Probably not. So we need someone like, we've lost Huggins, Huggins would have been great to be there and to sort of take turns with Cirkin. So yeah, we've just been unlucky with injuries. We have probably brought too many youngsters in, but that isn't always Lee Johnson. It's Speakman and Lee Johnson. Like you said, Speakman's in charge, so maybe it's more Speakman's fault bringing the youngsters in. Are they looking more for bringing youngsters in from these clubs and trying to sell them on in the future as a profit? So are they being greedy that way? Should we not just got some season campaigners in, mid-20s in to get us promoted? Wigan, they've getting our Charlie White, they've getting our Max Power, they've getting other season campaigners in who have been in the situation before. That's why they're in the top two. Rotherham, again, I've got season campaigners in there. That's why they're up there. We've got a bunch of youngsters and a bunch of players who need a pre-season. So it just worked out wrong at this moment in time. I just hope we can make the playoffs. I really do. And the likes of McGeady get back and Broadhead gets back.
There you go. Have a drink, Terry.
Okay, I'm going to get one now. 2 minutes.
I mean, maybe it's a generation thing. I don't know, but I tend to agree with Tony Lee. I kind of buy into these young lads, peak fitness and stuff like that. Tired. I mean, back in the day, you never heard this about players being tired, they couldn't play and stuff like that.
The game was a lot slower then, though, Phil, wasn't it? Like the game was, it
was slow. It was slow, and they had beer bellies and what have you. I do take that into consideration, but I mean, it's still. Anyway, I'll tell you what. I'll throw at you then, because I'm trying to get as much in as I can, and we don't have a lot of time left. He did change the formation. He brought substitutes on a little bit earlier and stuff like that. But the question I want to put to you is, I said before the start of our stream yesterday, I said to Dino that I thought was going to have a comfortable win because I thought these players were going to go out there, new manager coming in, they were going to absolutely play out the skin because it's that thing where we've got a new manager here. I'm going to impress him. I'm going to show him that I want a place in the team week in, week out. So do you think there's a bit of some of the players are rebelling? Because we did hear stories that they weren't happy that Lee Johnson had been sacked. And I can't understand why those players yesterday haven't sort of busted a gut. Every one of them, it was a poor performance. Go on, Terry.
So you believe that rumour and you don't believe the rumour about Charlie Methven being in the board meeting with Keane?
Well, I've got substance in what I'm saying about them.
What, you got a source, have you?
No, it's not a source. No, but I've got more insight into that than where I'm more confident of saying that. I don't know for certain, but that's what I'm led to believe, shall we say? No, I'm just throwing it out there. I just ask the questions, Terry. That's all I do to get the debate going.
I don't think any of the youngsters will be questioning that at all. Not after the defeats they've been through. I think maybe some of the older ones possibly, but like Sir Pritchard and them have worked with Alex Neil before, and so I'm sure he's more than happy for Alex Neil to come back because they've had a good understanding in the past. So I don't think there's anything. I think it's just exactly what Alex Neil said yesterday. Youngsters, a lot of young kids don't mature until the age of 21. And how many players have we got under the age of 21? When I go back to my training days, some of these, I used to train with 19, 18-year-olds when I was like in my late 20s. The first the first half of the session, they would beat me, but by the end of the session, they were knackered and I would come past them and beat them at the back end of the session. So some of these youngsters probably not physically and mentally mature enough to do a full season like some of them being asked to do. That's just my opinion. All
right. Jack, I mean, we did hear about the older players were rebelling a bit about not happy about Lee Johnson being sacked. I mean, for me, they didn't play out the skin yesterday, and I can't understand why. Do you think there could be anything in that?
Nah, not really. I know, people will believe that that's the case, but I don't think so. I just think yesterday, we had a lot of players that, like you say, were bang average 5, 6 out of 10, if that. And I think, like you say, it was a scrappy game. They made it scrappy. The referee made it scrappy. Sunderland are at the best when they're playing quick football, high tempo, high energy. and that's the way we thrive. And when the game's slow and choppy and free kicks galore and time wasted and things like that, as teams do at this level, I think it's not good. It wasn't our type of game, and that's not an excuse for them underperforming. I just think we had a lot of players that just didn't play very well yesterday.
Right, okay. I'll come to you just now, Dino. Alan Rowland on the chat. Alan is the member who won our competition, came on the bus with us down to Bolton. He says too much emphasis on tired players. I think it's just a case that teams have sussed our defence out and whether the players are tired or not. Dino, yesterday, why didn't the Buster go to play? Do you think there could be anything in that? Rebelling against the Lee Johnson thing?
I wouldn't say so, because at the end of the day, they're the players who got the manager sacked. The players have to go out there and perform, and if getting beat off 6-0, that's on them. They're the ones who don't mark the players, run with the man, take the game by the scruff of the neck. So they're the players who got Johnson sacked. So at the end of the day, they need to look at themselves. I do think there's a lot of players on there who are just not really playing for the shirt. They're just doing the bare minimum. I mean, Jay Matete, you could see he was playing out his skin, but then there's Dan Neil, who's lacking a bit of confidence, who isn't playing at his best. Because we all know when this team plays football, we can play football, we can play really, really well, we can break teams apart. But for some reason, it's just not clicking at the minute. Is it because the manager's gone, there's a new man in with new ideas? Is it because there's a bit of friction between the squad? Because at the end of the day, we don't know if these players like each other. Do you know what I mean? You've got to play. If you want to play football with somebody, you've got to want to like them. They want to pass to them. Do some of these players not have confidence in certain players around them? Oh, I'm not passing him the ball. He's shite. We'll never really know. But the players are not taking responsibility. They're just doing the bare minimum. I mean, it could be a number of things, but I just think the players just aren't getting the best out of themselves. And they need to book the ideas up, because at the end of the day, they'll get sold or they'll get moved on in January or in the next transfer window. So some of them need to book their ideas up, because we've seen what they are capable of, but they've been nowhere near that for a long, long time.
Terry, you want in there?
Yeah, it's another question to be asked as well. Maybe some of them just not good enough. Maybe they have to accept they're just not good enough to get us in the championship. Some of the players, maybe it's like, sort of, I say overperform, might have been decent, but maybe it's just overall through the whole of the season, they might just not be good enough. I thought Winchester was poor yesterday as well.
Right, Jack?
Yeah, I agree with Terry on that one. I think I look at our squad, and I just think Wigan and Rotherham have got the strongest squads than ours. I think they've got better teams, better squads. I think ours is probably a playoff squad, and we're probably going to end up in the playoffs. I think that's, in a nutshell. I mean, we can talk all day, but as Dino said, it's the lads who go out on the pitch that determine the results. And maybe we're not quite good enough, but it doesn't help when they don't play well either. That's not great either.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I'll go straight to the chat now, because John S says, hi from a happy Rotherham fan. I think your side is the best in the league. When it gets to grips, they will get back to playing and enjoy. Sort of good luck. So he's on about Alex Neil, I think, getting a hold of him. He thinks we're the best side in the league. I don't know where he gets that from, because if he was at the Rotherham game when we played them down there, then I don't know what game he must have been watching. Right, we are go on, Terry, make it quick.
I want to say at this moment in time, Rotherham are clearly the best side in the league.
Right, okay, I want to try and get through these points if I can, and so we are running out of time. So first of all, I want a quick yes or no to both of these. Can we finish top two? I want yes or no. And can we finish in the playoffs? Jack, top two?
Top two's gone. I think everybody realistically knows that. I know, that's where we should aim for, but so it's a no on that one. What was the other one? Can we get in the playoffs? Yes, I think we will probably still get in the playoffs, but top two's gone for me now.
Right, Terry, top two and playoffs.
Top two is gone, so that's a no, and playoffs, yes. It's all playoffs is open, and it's down to us if we want it or
not. Dino, same to you.
No and no.
No and no. Doominator is back. The Doominator is back here. We didn't know where he's been for the last 6 months or so, but he is back. Right, okay then. As you know, for me, top 2 is easily achievable, without a doubt. What I want to say to you, how many points do you think we need to get promoted automatically? Jack?
I think we need to get to 92 points. How many have we got now? What are we on now, Phil?
We've got
56.
50.
56. Let's have a look.
55 in it, I think, something like that. Let me
55, yes. So I think we've got what's that? 37 points from the last 14 games. That's going to be what? 12 wins from the last 14. 12 wins and a draw. It's not looking likely.
Well, there's 42 points available still, so we can still get 97 points. So it's still achievable. So we could still go up top 2. Terry, how many points do we need to go up automatically, do you think?
We need more points than every other team apart from 1. There you go. That's my answer.
Right, okay. Dino?
Gotta win every game. No draws, no defeats, win every game.
But you see, the thing is the proof it can be done, right? I mean, we're still on it. Let's have a look at this. We're 4 points off second place. I know there's games in hand. All right. We're 4 points off second place, 14 games still to play. So
there's 3 points separating us from taking out the playoffs. So you've got to look at both ends. Yeah, we're 4 points away from top 2, but we're 3 points away from being out the playoffs.
Listen, how any of you can say that we can't go up automatically, right? For me, is quite ridiculous. We've got 14 games.
You got to look at the way we're playing and the teams we're getting beat by.
We're 4 points. We're 4 points off second place. 14 games to play, and you're writing off top 2 automatically. Yes, Terry?
I appreciate your opinion with your rose-tinted spectacles, but I say that for me, it's gone. For me, it's gone. So I'm sorry, but I don't think, in my opinion, I think the playoffs is a realistic shout.
Right,
Phil, you look at the top 2 though. The top 2 averaging 2 points a game, aren't they? Rotherham and Wigan are both getting 2 points a game. We aren't. I think until we get to that, we get 90, 92, close to 2 points a game at the end of the season, which I don't think we're going to. I can't see it. I know what you're saying, but I can't see it.
Right. Well, the people are going to jump on this thing of games in hand. Rotherham have got 1 game in hand over us, and Wigan have got 4 games in hand over us. Which they're then saying, oh, we're not going to get it. But I mean, the proof is in Wigan's form at the moment, right? You can't tell me that just a few weeks ago, right? Everyone was saying the league is Wigan's. When we were going down to Bolton, right, Wigan have won this league. We've got to go for second place, right? That's what everybody was saying, right? All of a sudden now, this is Rotherham's. Why is it not Wigan's anymore? It's not Wigan's anymore because they've had 3 draws. All right, they got a win yesterday. But it's they've got a difficult month this month. Wigan, they've still got to play. I think they play Rotherham, they play us, and I think they've still got Wickham to play.
Who did they play on Tuesday night, Phil?
I don't know who did they play. You tell me.
I think someone said Crew, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the thing.
I think Power said Crew. I think Power said Crew.
They've still dropped points. Everybody's.
Thing is, Wigan don't lose games. They're getting a draw. They get a couple of draws. They're getting 3 points yesterday. How many points have we getting in the last 4 games? 1. But I tell you what, I bet we are bottom of the form table in the last 4 games.
Right. So are you saying that? I mean, you've already said Alex Neil had 40 minutes with the team on Friday morning. So whatever happened yesterday, right? Alex Neil has had no sort of real impact on what happened there. Yes, he made substitutions at a better time. Defoe got brought on with, at least he had time to play and stuff like that, change the formation and what have you. But, he's not really, he doesn't know them players. He can't say, actually, you're pretty good in training. I'm going to stick you in because you're going to make a difference. So are we not now from Saturday going to get the Alex Neil effect, the new manager effect, and now go on this 14-game unbeaten run up there, top 2? I'm
forever the optimist. I want us to win every single game that we have, but at this moment in time, I just can't see it. I hope Alex Neil goes unbeaten for the rest of the season, and I wish him all the best. But in my opinion, I just can't see it.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, how many points do you want from the next 5 games, which will then keep us in contention for the top 2? I know the top 2's written off by the 3 of you, Doominator 1, Doominator 2, and Doominator 3 down there. But we play the MK Dons at home, Burton at home, Wigan away, Charlton away, Fleetwood at home. Next 5 games. Do we need to win all those to be in contention for top 2, Jack?
I think it depends what your question is, Phil. If your question is how many do you think I'll realistically get, I think we'll probably get maybe 8, 9, 10 out of them 5 games. How many do we need to get? We need to be winning at least 4 of the next 5. If we still want to be in automatic contention, you need at least 12 points out of the next 15, at least. And
Wigan away really is like a 6-pointer, really. You know, you could afford to lose. You could afford to lose one of the others rather than lose the one to Wigan. Really, that's the important one. Terry, what do you think we'll get from those next 5?
Well, I'll take each game as it comes. I think the big game is MK Dons at the weekend. I mean, MK Dons are playing good football, playing well. We need to beat MK Dons. If they beat us, then we could be out of the playoffs in a couple of weeks' time. So for me, we need 3 points. Start off with 3 points against MK Dons with Alex Neil at the helm at home on Saturday. Exactly. And then we'll discuss the next 5 games after that. We'll see what happens on Saturday first. I'm not going to go any further than that.
Okay, well, I shouldn't have done that question then, knowing that you wouldn't have answered it anyway.
The other 2 will, just not me.
Well, Stadium Alight on Saturday will be, they'll get behind Alex Neil, and this is the start of it. I mean, he's not a chance to do anything down at Wimbledon. Dino, MK Dons at home, Burton at home, Wigan away, Charlton away, Fleetwood at home. I mean, we should be winning the home games at least, shouldn't we? And we will be Wigan down at Wigan.
We need to win all. We need to win all 5. We can't afford a drop. I think we've dropped too many points now. So if you want to get the top 2 or just stay in the hunt, you need to win all games. We've dropped too many points to drop any points in these next 14 games or how many we've got. So I'm going to say we need to win every single one.
Right. Okay, then. I think we're going to just about wrap it up there now because we're over time anyway. Still 436 people on the stream, 160 likes. If 40 people can just hit the thumbs up, that'll hit 200. That would be fantastic if you could do that. It'll take a second if you're watching on a mobile device. And the live chat is on. Just close the live chat, hit the thumbs up, do that. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, it is free to subscribe. Just very quickly before we go, quick word to the moderators we have on our channel tonight. All the moderators, I have asked you if you would get in touch with us. Just send us an email to our email address, which is there, SAFC Fan TV 73 at gmail.com. Send us an email. I've got a way of contacting you then because we do want to put some rules and regulations in place. At this point, I will tell you tonight when we come off air, everyone who's got a spanner will have their spanner removed. All right. And once you contact us, that's then we can give you your spanner back as soon as you know our new sort of guidelines we want to put out there. But thanks for watching. And of course, if you're a member, you can see your name in the credits at the end as it scrolls up the screen. Dino, would you like to just say bye to everybody?
Goodbye.
Oh, that was short but sweet. Terry, just say bye, would you?
Cheers, bye, everybody.
And Jack, say bye.
See you later, lads and lasses.
That's a good one. All right. And don't forget, please, to like and subscribe. We'll see you when we're next on. Goodbye and Mizgal.
Mizgal.